There's no better feeling than a personal win, and the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you do just that. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Deciding which credit card or loan is right for you is like trying to choose where you want to eat for dinner. Except when you finally get to the restaurant, the menu's riddled with jargon that no average foodie could understand. So at Credit Karma, we keep things simple. We show you personalized recommendations that align with your money goals and help you turn the confusing fine print into terms you can actually understand. And as a cherry on top, we provide a detailed overview for a new card or loan before you apply. That way, we can help you make decisions faster and with more confidence. Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
Get softer, smoother, and more even-toned skin after just one use with the new Gentle Exfoliating line from Cetaphil. Formulated with a unique triple acid blend that promotes surface skin cell renewal, these gentle chemical exfoliators remove dead skin cells and refine skin's texture while hydrating, resulting in softer, smoother, more even-looking skin. Shop the new Cetaphil Gentle Exfoliating line in the face and body aisles at your local Target store or online at Cetaphil.com.
And welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here again with Snail across the mic, and we're kind of having a two-parter episode here. First, talking about the Penguins game against the Winnipeg Jets on Sunday, and then a handful of mailbag questions to answer to get back into that arena as well. But before we dive into the game, I'm going to throw it over to Snail real quick to see how he's doing out in Seattle. Snail, I know here it was a beautiful day today. What was it like on the other side of the country?
Typical Seattle weather, pretty chilly. I think gonna have a high today of like 55.
Okay.
Kind of drizzly. Yeah, it's classic. It's starting to. I can feel November. I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the. I'm sleep. Today. I'm on my. I wouldn't call it a 2-day hangover, Robbie, but it's close. Have you ever had a 2-day hangover?
I don't know about 2 days.
Really?
I don't know. Not 2 days. I mean,
pretty
2 days.
responsible then with the drinking. Well,
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't. Shout out my buddy Troy. Crazy Halloween party. I was talking with Robbie before I got on. Haven't been to a party like this since my mid-20s probably. And yeah, it was awesome. But boy, was I banged up. I barely made it through the Penguins game. And I'm drinking my water. I got my super greens in me. My healthy drink. Dude, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to talk about this Penguins game, which was pretty disappointing.
Good, then disappointing, but yeah, there's definitely a glaring issue with the Penguins right now, and there is one part that it has improved from last year, but the big elephant in the room is the goaltending. And on Saturday, before traveling to Winnipeg, the Penguins announced the call-up of Alex Nedeljkovic. I believe in our recap of the Carolina game, we talked about how the Penguins have 2 weeks to sort out this goaltending situation with Nedeljkovic on a rehab assignment. Well, apparently the Penguins were happy enough with him getting one start in the AHL with the Baby Pens to call him up. And they are taking 3 goalies on this road trip to Western Canada. And when the rosters were announced for the game against the Jets, it was Alex Nedeljkovic in goal. Maybe not really surprising, given that he was stretched the legs out, got off some of the rust. But the backup was announced as Joel Blomqvist, meaning Tristan Jarry was a healthy scratch into the press box. And this was, anything else on this Sunday was probably the most shocking thing to come from the Penguins. Michael Bunting was also a healthy scratch, but the big shock was Tristan Jarry not even a backup in this game. So how they're going to handle 3 goalies, if this was the first sign, then it appears that it's going to be Nedeljkovic and Blomqvist in some way, and then Jari's going to have to find a way to earn a spot back on this roster if he can at all.
Dude, so much to unpack in what you just said. Like, we haven't even talked about how the game went yet or the score, but like, dude, there's like three big storylines I think with this game. One of them, Rutger is not present with the big club going into the Winnipeg Jets arena, where he, you know, didn't really see a path for himself to get NHL time where he thought maybe he was ready. And, you know, I liked what the kid brought. I think he's going to have a great long career, but I just didn't think he was NHL ready, even with the Penguins having a few roster spots open, competition-wise in preseason. That's number one, which I'm sure we'll get to that, the chants from the crowd asking where Rutger is. So the other thing you mentioned, though, was Jari being a scratch. Before we signed off last time, I thought I had heard that they were going to travel with three goalies, but it was not confirmed yet. And then here we have it. They're traveling with three goalies. Jari in the press box. I have to be honest with you, Robbie, and I don't know how you feel about this. About, you know, we all are frustrated with Jari and his play because, like some people on the outside looking in as on Penguins fans, it's not like he's just having like a rocky start to this season. This is from last year bleeding into this year, and we've seen these kind of big gaps in his performances. So the frustration is I feel justified. But dude, I was kind of happy to see him sat up there. It showed me two things. One thing, it's just management and Sullivan and Dubas signed him to that $5 million+ 5-year contract. They came together and agreed he's not helping us win games, so we're going to put him in the press box. I feel like at times with this Penguins club, whether it's Sullivan or Dubas or Hextall or whatever, sometimes there's a lack of accountability on some of these players that have these bigger contracts. So as a fan, how did you feel knowing that Jari wasn't even wearing a ball cap that night?
Well, I'm very interested to see where it goes from here. And starting on Tuesday night in Calgary. And when it came down, like, I saw three goaltenders. I figured there's no way that – I figured Blomqvist was just going to be scratched. When the news came out, I'm thinking, Blomqvist will scratch. I'll probably rotate the three goalies through this road trip and see where things are, so on and so forth. Then it comes down that Nedeljkovic is starting. Didn't really surprise me. But Joel Blomqvist is the backup, and Tristan Jari, that obviously can only be one other option. He's in the press box. And I think if you look at the body of work of at least Jari and Blomqvist, Nedeljkovic obviously being injured, it's the only logical, if you're basing it on performance and earned roster spot, that's the only way you could have gone. Nedeljkovic was okay, was fine in his rehab game in Wilkes-Barre. I thought for the most part he was fine against Winnipeg. The Penguins defense is just an absolute tire fire of a mess right now. Just an absolute garbage fire that no goaltender, whether it's Alex Nedeljkovic or Igor Shesterkin, is going to have much success behind in the long term. So if you're going on earned, then yeah, Blomqvist was the correct guy to get that. It's good to see that at least in this small sample size that there is some kind of you have to like Mike Sullivan's not just putting him out there on, well, we're paying him all this money, he has to at least be on the bench. They could very easily have gone that route, made him the backup and not made him feel bad, but instead they go with the rookie who's played all of 3 games in his NHL career and has undoubtedly this season looked like the better of the 2 goaltenders. You can't really argue any other way if you've watched either of those 2 goalies play this year. Jari, it just feels like it's completely lost when he's on the ice. Just bad goals, untimely goals. Blomqvist has been just a better goaltender. And I think if you're just basing it on one game, which is, not a lot, Alex Nedeljkovic is a better goaltender right now. Alex Nedeljkovic was a better goaltender at the end of last season. And that game still sticks in my mind, that a game that meant literally nothing at the end of the season on the road after playing 12 or 13 straight games, whatever it was, they still went without Nedeljkovic in a game that literally could not have mattered less. And that's still it sticks in my mind. And I think that this was just a continuation of how the Penguins feel right now with the goaltending situation. They think that we have to dress our two best goaltenders, and that's what they did on Sunday.
And I agree with you completely, and I love it. I like to see that. I think that some of us, maybe I should speak for myself, I think there were times in the last year or two where, remember the continuation of putting Jeff Carter out and the frustration that came with that, wondering why is Jeff Carter, a veteran getting paid more money, getting a spot over maybe some younger players that we'd like to see out there that we thought brought maybe more jam in life. So seeing them go with, like you said, the better performing goaltenders, and that does speak to Nedeljkovic having only played one game in Wilkes-Barre this year.
Yeah.
I like to see that. I thought Ned played great. I thought I saw kind of that same, and maybe this kind of speaks to how unfamiliar I was with Ned's game prior to him coming to Pittsburgh, but I like the way that he battles in net. I thought that there was, he was under siege for for like large periods of time, because the Penguins defense is just, from forwards and defenders alike, it's just a mess right now. And I thought that he battled so well, and I thought that he kind of showed that jam that he had kind of towards the end of last season. So I mean, right now it's like, dude, I'm getting kind of shades of Jack Campbell with Tristan Jarry. If you remember, Jack Campbell kind of at times setting the record for consecutive wins in Toronto, but then kind of like Jarry having 6 shutouts last year, and then having stretches of time where this guy he's a backup in the AHL probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of where I'm at, I think we're collectively at the same place with the goaltender situation. The other thing is, let's dive into Michael Bunting being healthy scratched.
Yeah, Michael Bunting scratched in this game as well. Not a good start to the season for a guy that we thought was going to be a key part of what the Penguins are trying to do. He looked great after he came over from Carolina in the Gensel trade last year, and it just hasn't worked so far this year. And kind of surprised it came this early, but Mike Sullivan does not appear to be somebody who is messing around much right now. So he is out there mixing up lines already, making changes, and I don't hate it. Bunting is far from the only problem, but you have to kind of shake up and try to get some different chemistry in there. And Bunting is the guy that gets pulled out of the lineup. So, yeah, no Bunting in this game. He's in the press box as well. It'll be interesting to see. I think he'll be back in the lineup on Tuesday against Calgary, though. So.
Oh, and I think he's going to be not only in the lineup, but I think he's going to be doing his best like Brad Marchand impersonations out there on the ice. Bunting being kind of the rat he is, and just he's already kind of like a little ball of anger out there, and he plays with a chip on his shoulder at times. I think when he's most effective, at least he's playing with sort of like, seems like a chip on his shoulder. I expect a big game from him against Calgary, and I'm hoping he's slotted right back there with Gino and Raquel, because like you said, last season when he came over, it was like Gino finally found his, one of his new line mates. I thought it's like to go off what you said too, I think Sullivan is doing things that maybe he hasn't really had to do in the past couple of years, and that's benching guys. And these aren't depth guys either. It's not like he's, sitting a Jeff Carter for a game, or sitting name a bottom 6 player over the last 5 years. This is Tristan Jarry, and it's Michael Bunting who carries the weight of the Gensel trade and how well he played down the stretch last year after the trade deadline. I think his quote was like, I think they have higher expectations, and as fans, I think we all did too, and he's definitely not meeting them. So probably going to have a big game from Bunting. If you're a gambling man, I'd probably put some sort of money down that Bunting, I don't know, gets on the score sheet in some way and probably draws a penalty maybe.
Yeah, I think that's completely a fair assessment. I think he could definitely be a guy that comes out and kind of uses that as motivation to jumpstart his season, but they definitely need it. He's a guy that they wanted in the top 6. He's a guy that played in the top 6 at the end of last season. And yeah, unfortunate that it had to come this early, but hey, sometimes that's what those guys need, just to come out, get a little wake up call, and they're back in the lineup the next night and ready to roll. So, Bunting plays that sandpaper game. He's not a sniper by any means. He's not like a Raquel. So they need him to be kind of have that edge and to play gritty and get those goals, those gritty goals, especially with Malkin. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see how he responds, assuming he's in the lineup against Calgary, which I think he will be. I think one game's a good message sender early in the season.
Dude, yeah, the Penguins certainly need him firing on all cylinders, because when him and Malkin are bullying players, they're so dominant. That line it cooks, especially with Raquel resurging and kind of seeming to find his game early on this season. That could be a lethal line. That could be a line that, we see. That's a first line part B, like, for this team. That's like a first line on any good team in the NHL when they're firing like that. So we got our first look at Valtteri Puustinen back in the lineup. I was going to ask you about that. Is everyone happy to see Valtteri get his, I believe, was that his first game this season?
No, I don't believe it. Maybe it was. I don't remember exactly.
Dude, Puljujarvi looked good too. I thought,
Puljujarvi's been solid again. He's been solid all season. Nothing you can say really against Puljujarvi. He had another assist in this game. A good game. Eller was good again. He had 2 goals. Kevin Hayes got on the scoreboard. The Penguins are scoring. For once, that is not the problem. They can convert chances. They have a high expected goals number this year. They are playing great in the offensive zone, but defensively, they're a disaster in the defensive zone. Nedeljkovic stood in his head as long as he could in this game. There's no structure. It's just a complete
it's Seattle roller hockey.
Yeah, it's just a complete fire drill when everyone's out there. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's just a complete discombobulation of bodies. Nobody has their assignments. And against a team like Winnipeg, that's going to be a major problem. You can probably get away with it every so often against the teams that are at your level or worse than you. But a team like Winnipeg is going to kill you. A team like Edmonton is going to kill you. A team like Vancouver is going to kill you. And those are 2 of the Penguins' next 3 opponents. Yeah, it's just the whole entire defensive structure is a disaster. And unfortunately, the structure is not something you can just flip a switch on. You're going to need a complete rehaul of that system right now. And it's been just a disaster through 7 games.
It's so frustrating too, because it's like Jekyll and Hyde. There have been games we've seen this season where it's like a defensive masterclass and everyone is being responsible and the penalty kill is really clicking, and then you have games where it's like, yeah, the defense, they just seem like they're running all over the place and people are making the wrong moves. Sullivan used the term, I think they're just beating themselves, and it's like, yeah, you've got the depth scoring. You've got Eller leading this team in goals right now. You've got Hayes with I've been saying he's going to play that like Brian Boyle role, just a big body, bottom 6 guy right now with the scoring touch. He's got 3 goals on the season. That third line is amazing, but like the defense is going to kill you. And the Penguins, they can certainly score, but can they outscore those defensive, those just big gaps in defensive structure and all that? I don't know. Is it the fact that half of our defense is made up of guys like Grzelcyk, Letang, and Carlson, who are defensemen who are not known for their strong defensive qualities? I think, like you said, structure. It's a coaching thing. It's hard to fix that right away, but it certainly needs to, because I think the Penguins are looking at this first month of the season going, we need to get out ahead of this, just because of the way the last 2 seasons have gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyways, it's, we should probably get into the game and the score and how it all went down. But definitely some interesting headlines heading into this game, their first game of this road trip out in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, they get off to a good start. They get the goal, the power play goal from Kevin Hayes. Lars Eller gets his 3rd of the season just a couple minutes later. Within a little over 5 minutes, it's 2-0. You're feeling good. But by the end of the first period, this is the second period, no scoring in the first period. But by the end of the second period, they're down 3-2. Kyle Connor, goal scorer. Mark Scheifele, great player, makes it 2-2. And then at in the dying seconds of the period, Vladislav Nemestikov makes it 3-2. And after the way they started that period, it kind of feels like it could really get away from them. But Lars Eller again opens the third period, 90 seconds in. It's 3-3. You're thinking maybe turn the tide here, but Lowry gets one, and then this is where the wheels come off. Mason Appleton makes it 5-3. At this point, you're not feeling great at all. And then Nito Niederreiter buries an empty netter to ice the game. So 6-3, but the way it started and the way they bounced back, it had you feeling pretty good. But in the end, Winnipeg was just a better hockey team.
Yeah, and they're undefeated, so it shows that they've got something going there, that they've got structure. They got some of their strong points are the Penguins' weak points. Also, super weird that Nino Niederreiter and Vlad Nemestikov are still in the league. I had no I couldn't have told you where those guys played. So good on them, though, I guess, getting on the score sheet and helping this team get to 5-0. Yeah, there was a point where I thought that the Penguins and Jets were just going to trade blow for blow, and it was looking pretty good there for a minute. But then, I think that Appleton goal, not feeling super great about the Penguins coming back at that point. It was just obvious, the Penguins really couldn't sustain any pressure in their zone. That structure that the Jets have, that, I feel like they started to really. They've always been a pretty good team over the last few years. Like, so many times they're picked as like cup favorites, and then they just kind of, of all people, Hellebuck melts down in the playoffs. But that Rick Bowness really seemed to instill something in that team after some of their big dogs like Wheeler and Dubois left. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you who their coach is. I forget who their coach is, but whatever, they got something going up there in Winnipeg. And when Hellebuck wasn't even in goal, it was Comrie. Forget his name. Eric. Not Hillary Duff ex Comrie, the other Comrie.
Eric.
Yeah. So kind of disappointing, but dude, there's some things that the Penguins could certainly tighten up, and scoring is not their issue right now. They're getting everything. They're getting depth scoring, which is like everything Penguins fans wanted last year, was just a little bit of depth scoring. They're getting it now, but the defense is all over the place. So I'd like to see that get tightened up heading into Calgary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Calgary's playing great too.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a hard road trip, whether you're, even if you're good. It can be a lot harder when you're not good. So, yeah, Calgary's no slouch. And then you have Edmonton and Vancouver to wrap it up back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. So it's no pushovers in this run of games here. So you got to try to get at least one, because, man, you don't want to go over 4 on this road trip.
Oh, God, no. Dude, they can't. They have to. There has to be some urgency to. I mean, it would have been so nice if they could have pulled out that win in Winnipeg and you start the road trip on a high note. But
yeah,
there's got to be some urgency in these next couple of games to get 2 points. I don't care how that comes, but 2 points. I don't care how ugly or how pretty it is. They need to come back from this road trip. Could we, would you say just like a hair under 500? Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, I'd really be happy with just one win out of the entire trip.
Win, just somebody cough up a win to them.
Yeah.
How about the Edmonton Oilers taking the reins from the Penguins as the oldest team in the NHL now?
Yeah, Edmonton, which is kind of surprising because it felt like they were so young for so long, but time waits for no one, and
certainly not.
They are now the oldest team.
I like it
in the league. Yeah. All right, so that's it for the game. We're going to do a few mailbag questions here. Everything from Brian. We're just going to take a couple here. We'll save some for later in the week. So we'll start with, we kind of touched on it, but how do we feel about Bunting getting the healthy scratch?
My thoughts are, I like it. It's funny, you know, this scratch from Bunting came right around the time that another rat in the game, Brad Marchand. Did you see the verbal abuse he took from the Bruins head coach?
Yeah.
I'm spacing on his name right now, but did you see that exchange?
Yeah, Jim Montgomery. Yeah,
Jim Montgomery. Dude, I love that Sullivan is not afraid to push a button right now. He needs to get this team going. And Bunting is, you know, he's one of those buzzsaws he's one of the few buzzsaws that are on this team that are like a Tanev or I don't know, name a pest. When he's playing good, the Penguins play it's ultimately a better game, and I'm cool with it. I just hope that it's, Bunting takes it as a kick in the rear end to get going, as opposed to being in the doghouse or something like that. And you want him to come out with a chip on his shoulder, because I think, like I said earlier, that's when he's playing his best. But where are you at with it, Robbie?
Yeah, I think that this early in the season, you kind of need to make a statement. He has not been good, so I'm definitely not. I'm definitely pro the move. Again, I think he'll be back in the lineup against Calgary, but definitely needs a kick in the pants. And a couple guys could use it, but he's probably one of the easier targets right now, just because of how bad he started this season. So yeah, I'm on board with it as well. Hopefully, it does jumpstart him starting Tuesday. Let's see. This version of the Pens has at least a chance of being good since they figured out how to score again. I'll give Sully his props for changing his offense, but the defense still needs to do the same. Far too many mistakes going with the back end, leading to too many odd man rushes.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength, and estrogen-free. Plus, there's no prescription needed. Finally, the days of needing a prescription for birth control are over. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Take control of your health and reproductive journey with Opill. Birth control in your control. Use code BIRTHCONTROL for 25% off your first month of Opill at Opill.com.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Feel your max with Brooks Running and the all-new Ghost Max 2. They're the shoes you deserve, designed to streamline your stride and help protect your body. Treat yourself to feel-good landings on an ultra-high stack of super comfy nitrogen-infused cushion that takes the edge off every step, every day. The Brooks Ghost Max 2. Technically, they're a form of self-care. Brooks, let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Yeah, I think that, like I'd said a little bit earlier too, just like last year, I would have loved to see Lars Eller leading the team in scoring, and a guy like Hayes contributing both on the second unit power play and 5-on-5. Puljujärvi looking super good. Like, I don't know, this is the stuff that like Penguins teams of old, and by old I mean the last 2 seasons specifically, have wanted. I agree with Brian. I think that this team actually, there's moments I'm like, this is a good team. Like this, if this team can get a few things tightened up defensively and structurally, and if we could see a little bit more out of the power play, just given the personnel, I think this could be a great team. But yeah, there's just a couple of glaring issues that we see pretty consistently so far in this first month of the season so far. And yeah, if those don't get fixed, we're looking at another middle of the pack year, probably not making the playoffs again and not getting that top 10 pick probably. So it's only October, but there's some urgency for this team to get going and start playing up to their potential. Mm-hmm. Robbie, where are you at with the squad this year?
Oh, there's definitely potential here, and the offense, it's fitting that the offense finally starts to finish, and then the defense just goes to complete hell. So, yeah, I think that the potential is absolutely there. It's going to depend on the goaltending and just doing something on defense, because right now, defensively, it's just a mess. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're just skating around, no structure.
It's not all Graves either.
No, yeah, it's not. It's like Ryan Graves is not the whipping boy here at all. It is everybody they put on that back end has had their moments of absolute, like a cartoon with question marks flying around their head.
Mm-hmm.
Just an absolute disaster in their own zone. And the goalies, it doesn't matter. The goalie can be better, but man, when you have that many breakdowns, eventually there's only so much a goalie can do. So fingers crossed they figure out something, because it can't go on like that forever.
Dude, Vasilevsky would be having a hard time with this defense.
Everybody your greatest goaltender ever be having a hard time.
Which makes me wonder, if the Penguins had really good defense right now, would Blomqvist just be like, would he be shining even brighter?
Probably. I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah, you'd have to think so. This one's more for you, Snail, so I'm just gonna let you handle it. Brian asks, Snail, do you like CCM bringing back the tax 652s?
I do. So it's actually funny, the CCM tax that they're reissuing, and you're seeing some of the star players playing with right now, testing them out, like more of a heritage look. They're actually, Robbie, right behind you on your screen, that ice skate is modeled after them. If you want to take a look at them, if you pull up a picture of them online, that is the skate that you guys have on the Skating Penguin Network podcast logo.
All right.
Did you look at them?
Yeah, I can see him in the logo here, yeah.
Or no, but did you see a picture of the...
hold on one second. What do you... CCM...
I'll send them over to you right now.
652.
Super classic ice skate.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Those... I think if you, like, think of a hockey skate, that's probably the image that comes into your... into your mind, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely... It feels like a classic hockey skate, if I'm...
it is, and so they're remaking them just with updated materials and making them lighter, because I think those skates were pretty heavy. Austin Matthews has been seen skating them. I actually saw a photo of Sidney Crosby skating in a pair. So I don't know if it's for... I don't know. I think... Oh, no. It's CCM's like 125 or 150 year like anniversary or something. So that's why they're bringing those back. But yeah, it'll be cool to see those live on the ice, see if players maybe, obviously not just taking a shift in them, but maybe a game or two, someone breaking a pair in and actually seeing them in use on the ice. I'm a sucker for nostalgia. Robbie, I'm sure you are too. Like, there's so much... We're getting to that age too where like nostalgia sells, and I'm a fan of them. So anything for those nostalgic classic looks.
They're just the absolute classic, the classic looking skate. Absolutely, for sure. If you think of what a hockey skate looks like, that's probably going to pop into your head, even if you don't know what they are.
Totally.
All right, we'll do one more here real quick. You're in charge of a new NHL role. What's the craziest but still playable role you'd introduce to make things a bit more fun?
Ooh, I love this question. Robbie, you go first.
Oh, me go first? So for one, I would... this is more for like an overtime thing. I'd make 10-minute 3-on-3. I think it would. You could completely eliminate the shootout without actually eliminating the shootout, because the amount of goals you're going to score with 10 minutes of 3-on-3 is probably going to just about negate the shootout in any form or fashion. Stupid one, but one that I think people are calling for. Just get rid of that trapezoid. It frees up the goalies to do so much more and get the puck up the ice. It's a little things like that. And also, to make the games more exciting, I would angle the goalpost. I would make a flat angle on the inside of the goalpost.
What?
To force the pucks to more than likely, if you hit it at the right spot, bounce in rather than go wide.
Oh my God, dude, I love that. I've never heard that one before, but have them angled into actually like kind of like a basketball hoop. If you kind of get it on the inside of the rim, it's angled to like bounce into the basket.
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to see it. Like, it would just be enough.
Just a little bevel on there.
Yes.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a good one. Because I think that those posts, sometimes I'm just like, I mean, especially when it's your team hitting posts, they'll hit 3 posts in a period. It's like, man, they had a little bevel on there, might be a different story at the end of the game.
Yep.
So mine is I actually, in my heart of hearts, really want this and believe this, and I think that like I actually want to see this in the game, but it's gonna sound goofy, and I want goalies the rules surrounding goalies in hockey to be like the ones. I'm a big fan of lacrosse, so like I want it to be like in lacrosse where goalies can only skate up to the red line.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see, or soccer kind of too. I would like to see goalies be able to skate wherever they want. Of course, you don't want you don't want your goalie breaking the puck out, one man breakout or anything like that. But like in a certain situation, like what if you had a goalie that was like great at goaltending, but he could absolutely snipe? And like, let's just say, like, this is what I'm talking about, Robbie. Like, one, they can skate up the ice, because I think that like there's been a couple goaltenders that have maybe tried to skate past the red line and they didn't even know it was a rule. I think that's like it was Patty Waugh maybe did it or something.
I think somebody did it a couple years ago too, and they got whistled for it. I think they might have known the rule, but they did it.
They just did it anyway.
Yeah.
So imagine how sick it would be if, like, let's say Joel Blomqvist just has an absolute rocket on him, and it's like, you know, let's say there's like 5 seconds left in a period and it's an offensive zone face-off. Joel Blomqvist goes to the bench and swaps out his goalie stick for a regular stick, and you've got him lined up as like the last line of defense, and it just kind of the face-off is won and it goes to him and he snipes bar down from downtown. That would be so cool. Or like, what if you had a goaltender who was able to actually, like, kind of in lacrosse, like sometimes the goalie will make an unreal save and he starts to kind of like wade out of his crease, and then he just the sees part and he just wheels up and he's, you know, he's cradling and he's looking for a pass and he maybe fakes and dekes somebody and then he goes past and he's getting a chance on goal. Like, it's the goalies are wearing such heavy clunky equipment, but this day and age, goaltenders have to be one of the better skaters on the team.
Oh yeah.
And so with that skating ability, and I just, you know, it would be such a weapon to be able to have a goaltender that, what if it's a 5-on-3 or something like that, and you get your goalie in the mix and he's up there dangling, breaking out passes and getting open? I don't know. I think it would make the game so much more fun. It would be a lot like box lacrosse, or like a lot like field lacrosse, or like you see it in soccer very, very rarely, but a goaltender get up in the mix.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, just to add a little bit of fun and chaos and activate that goalie position a little bit more. Because sometimes I think, they have a lot. They play the whole game and they're stopping pucks. They have to be so dialed in.
Yep.
And they can only play the pucks back behind the net. They can't play in those little trapezoids. But man, if you could for some reason mix in a goalie with some excitement and a little bit of like activation back there and get them up in the mix, dude, I'd love it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting one. It gives you an extra attack. It would, I mean, obviously risk reward kind of situation, obviously as well. But no, I like that. I like getting the goalie, more involved in the offense. But yeah, I mean, obviously a high risk, high reward situation. But that's what makes the game fun.
I like the chaos.
And again, if we really want to get really exciting, I would do in the playoffs, I do 1 versus 16.
Like where you could have like
16 teams in the league qualify, and you go 1 to 16. It doesn't matter if they're from the West, from the East.
So like Rangers playing like the LA Kings first round.
In the first round.
Dude, why not? I mean, as a viewer, I like the rivalries that this
obviously
format has made.
Travel would be a nightmare, but
NHL makes enough. They can foot that bill. It's not on us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, as a viewer, dude, like, I don't know why some people are so against that.
I don't know. That tradition, I guess.
But that tradition has been broken and rearranged so many times. What even is tradition at this point? Because they've done, it wasn't even that long ago that they had a different playoff format. Like in the history of things. It wasn't like, it wasn't like 100 years ago.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Let's mix it up a little bit and change some, change it up a little bit. That's my take on that. But
what about the idea of kind of bringing it back to lacrosse? What if there was a 2-point line, a 2-point, like in
baseball as well, or not baseball, basketball.
Exactly, the 3-point line.
Yeah, I don't know where you'd put it exactly. That's only pro lacrosse though, too, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a thing in lacrosse where you get the 2-point line.
Just pro lacrosse. I don't have it in college lacrosse, do they?
In college lacrosse, I don't think so. I think it's all only one.
Pro, just in Trying to think.
When you get those long poles that are so far out and they can score from distance, it's so sick. But I think
where would you make it from? That's because I mean, scoring inside the blue line. And could you imagine the chaos though if they put it like at the top of the face-off circles, and like anything from in there was 2 goals?
I don't know. That would drive.
What happens? And wouldn't it be crazy though? Like, say that Erik Karlsson takes a shot and it bounces off, let's say Brian Rust in front of the goal.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah. What happens if it gets deflected? That means it wouldn't be a 2-point. It wouldn't. No,
I mean, if it hits the other team, it's fine. But if it deflects off your own team, then it gets relegated to a 1 point.
Yeah, I'm down with that. But imagine if, and then people would be really checking the tapes when goals are scored to be like, did it hit anybody? All right, that's 2 points. Could you imagine the excitement? You just have like Karlsson and Malkin and like, I don't know, Raquel all on the 2-point line, just trying to dish it to them to snipe one past God only knows and try to get that 2 points. If it would make a game where you're down by 2 so much more interesting in the last 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're down 2 goals. No lead is really ever safe.
No, and you know who actually I think did that pro beach hockey back in the day? Did they have a 2-point line?
I do not know.
I think that they did. I want to say they did. I could be wrong.
Imagine teams taking shots in empty nets from their own zone, knowing that if they score
2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to readjust like stats altogether.
Well, I think you still give them credit for just 1 goal, but it's just a second point. Like
it's a second point on the scoreboard.
Yeah,
but it is only 1 goal.
Yeah, like it wouldn't change. Like Crosby wouldn't all of a sudden score like 150 goals in a season. Like, yeah, like
right.
David would still only score. Like last year, Matthews still would have only scored 69. Like,
or like the minuses for players that were on the ice for a bunch of 2-pointers, and their minuses just go way up.
Yeah, you'd have a complete statistical nightmare.
You'd have a statistical nightmare, and someone would look like they were the worst defenseman in the world because they just so happened to get a few like 2-pointers scored on them in like a weekend.
Imagine like, and then like instant replays and stuff for, is this puck like over the 2-point line? Is it on the like? And your body has to be behind the 2-point line. Like it would be a lot of chaos, but it would definitely be. I wish you could there was like a video game where you could test this out, like an NHL 25 or something. So like we're gonna
EA Sports, get on it. They need to start testing this.
Give me an arcade style and let me just mess with the rolls and see what works.
That's probably, if they're not testing it in Russia or in the AHL, that might be how they're doing it nowadays.
Yeah. All right. That is our recap for the Jets game, plus a few mailbag questions. Penguins are back in action on Tuesday evening against the Flames, and then they have 2 days off. But it's a late game for me out here, so we'll probably have to record Wednesday or something. We'll take a few more mailbag questions as well. So, Snail, do you have anything before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I got one quick thing. So, it's October 21st. Halloween is 10 days away. And we're going to start to see players, enjoying their Halloween parties. Every team has a Halloween party every year, and you get to see these, you get to see the personalities come out a little bit with some of these NHL players. You get to see them go all out when they're with their teammates or people that they go the opposite way and they don't go all out, and it's disappointing. But, I actually just saw a post with, Connor McDavid actually might have some of the best Halloween costumes ever.
He does pretty good. Yeah, he does pretty good.
I'm just going to show this up on the screen here, Robbie. That's him as Homer Simpson.
Jeez.
Look at that.
That's good. You see Fleury's?
Yeah. Oh, I love McLovin.
Yeah, it was so perfect.
Good. He could have been him in the movie.
Fleury actually does. Fleury and his wife usually have go all out too. And this is probably Fleury's last one, so he's probably making this count or something. So, but yeah, very, very good.
Well, he's already kind of had 2 this year already because he went out on the ice as one of the ice.
I did see. Yes,
he was out there. Yeah, in the preseason. So he's up to his tricks out there in Minnesota. I'm sure it's going to be a great last year for Flower. But yeah, it's a great time of year, Robbie. Halloween is coming up, and dude, are we going to do another candy draft potentially?
No, I think we'll take this year off the candy draft. Maybe jump into it again next year.
All right. We'll have to figure out something fun to do for like a Halloween episode, though.
That's perfect.
Find something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
All right. That's all I got, though, Robbie.
All right. So that wraps up this episode. Thank you guys for listening. For Snail, I'm Robbie. We will talk to you guys later this week.